Today we're going to walk through an application that we've put together that demonstrates real-time parsing of cellular call detail records. The application is in two parts. The first half is handling voice records. The second half is handling data records. Each of these has a data source that's using a special parser that can actually parse the binary call detail records. First of all, we're putting all the records into 15-second windows. Those windows are used to do aggregates over the data, and that's what's used to power the dashboard mainly. We're doing a lot of processing on each of the records. Some of the queries are just pure aggregation, like this one for example, where we're aggregating over the type of device, the location, and what caused the call to succeed or fail. Others we're actually doing for alerts. For example, here we're looking to see whether there are certain users, grouping by IMSI, which is the subscriber identifier. We're looking to see if these certain users have more than a certain number of issues. So we do all this processing, which is basically going to show us aggregation in the dashboard and allow us to drill down and also to send alerts. And we're doing that on the voice record side and also on the data record side. A few more calculations on the data record side. We're looking for problems with particular locations, problems with particular services, and problems with particular devices. The demonstration is powered by a little simulator, and that simulator can generate a number of different scenarios. We're going to see what those look like very shortly. So if we go into the dashboard, you can see this is the normal state of the world. Everything is looking good. We're seeing reasonable averages of normal calls. The main calculations in the application are to understand which calls are normal, as in they worked, and which ones failed. It's nicely distributed over the map. For each of these types of call detail records, the data and the voice, we can go into a drill down and take a look at them by device type and by data service, and really process this data that's coming in and filter it and see exactly what we want to look at in real time as we're getting the data. So let's simulate a scenario. You can see right now we don't have any users with multiple problems. These are interesting users that have had a lot of issues in a short space of time and are likely to call customer support. So these are users that you probably want to get a heads up that these are not happy users and they're going to call customer support. So I just switched the scenario to generate some users with multiple problems, and we'll see after a space of 10-20 seconds that we start to get some users that have had more than a certain number. I think it's 10 on the data side and 4 on the voice side. More than a certain number of issues within a minute. We can drill down on those users. We can see where they are. And these users are nicely geographically disparate, which means it's not an issue with a particular cell tower. They're using a variety of different devices, so it's not an issue with a particular type of device. So now we're going to generate an issue where a particular cell tower starts to have problems. So we're going to generate some issues in Los Angeles. And we'll go back to the top level of the dashboard. And right now everything kind of looks okay, but in a short space of time we'll start to see more issues coming through in the Los Angeles area, and we're probably getting some alerts from Los Angeles right now. Hasn't had time to do that yet, but as we watch this, there you go, starting to get issues in Los Angeles, and you can see and cell. This cell in Los Angeles is having issues as well. That's a good alert to get. And we can see over here that the Los Angeles percentage has dropped and it's done that on both the data side and on the voice side. If we drill down into Los Angeles, you'll be able to see that drop off and see kind of when it happened and what the users are experiencing. So you can see here the drop off happened just about here, where it went from around 80% down to 24% of normal. And over here, these are the reasons why it failed. So we've got a lot of abnormal releases, a lot of radio type change, so switching between GSM and LTE, and some volume limits where users are experiencing, they're basically hitting their volume limit. And we don't know whether that's a cause or a symptom. And the same issues can be seen in a number of places. If we go and take a look at the problem users, we'll see that these are mainly located in Los Angeles. And if we take a look at the voice users, you can see that there's also been a drop-off of percent normal over there. And if we drill down into Los Angeles, we'll see that that also experienced a drop-off from around 80 to 70% of normal. And the amount of calls has actually peaked. It's gone up from around 5,000 to 20,000 calls in this amount of time. So that's that scenario. And the final scenario we'll take a look at is one where a particular device is having issues on a particular service. Now, this could happen in the case where we have, a application is updated on all the devices, and it just so happens that one particular device has some issues in that application, and the application starts behaving badly. So if we take a look at the data side of the world, you can see that everything looks quite normal. We have a nice normal distribution of calls. Nothing's looking terribly bad in the map. But if we take a look over here, you can see that one or two particular devices, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, are having issues. If we click on, say, the iPhone 6, then that will give us an immediate response as to what's going on. You can see down here, these particular services are not behaving well at all. They're only got 25% normal calls. And if I click on one of those services, you can see further that the problems are distributed across the entire map, which kind of indicates that it's not limited to a particular cell. And most of the other device types and devices are behaving well, apart from the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. We also got a number of alerts kind of indicating these issues. So this device type, iPhone 6, is only 71% of normal voice calls, and also we're having issues with the data calls, and that gives us a good understanding that it really is just a problem with this particular device. So that's a very quick run through our call detail record monitoring application, and if you come back soon, we'll probably have more applications for you to look at.